Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special interview with my man Matty and his dad Drew. Matty, I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, though, man, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
So yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Matty McLaughlin, long snapper from St. Louis, Missouri, and I joined Athletes University probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And so I started off my snapping journey about eighth grade, and I knew right away that I was going to be pretty decent, but I didn't know what the recruiting process looked like, especially at my position. Just there were lots of unknowns. And then rewind or fast forward about 3 years from eighth grade into junior year, I realized I was gonna be pretty special. So we started going to some camps, kind of blind, kind of just picked them just because that's what we thought was good, and did great at the camps, but couldn't hear back from a lot of coaches after the camps, and I was kind of confused and kind of need some guidance. So we stumbled across Athletes University on Instagram, and my dad decided that, well, we should probably look into this a little more and see what it's about. And right away, we our first meeting, we kind of talked about the ins and outs and of the recruiting process and how it looks a little different for each position, and mine especially, but. Right away, Will and his team started working pretty hard for me, started sending emails for me, which I ended up getting an Air Force offer from the email campaign alone. And not only that, but he helped me talk to coaches in a more appealing way and help grab their attention a little more to respond to me better. And yeah.
Awesome, bro. No, and I appreciate you sharing all of that. Walk Walking back a little bit. When you were kind of going to these camps, I guess, what did that process look like for you when you were going to these camps, maybe not talking to the coaches, or how those conversations look, man?
Yeah. So before you going to camps, I was kind of going into it blind, and I kind of knew like a little bit what to say, but I would go up to coaches, especially at mega camps. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm Matty," and like I'd give them my information and not really say much.
Yeah.
And that's not very memorable. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. What did you all maybe like tried before actually coming to us for help? Because I know you worked your butt off training, and you did some other research and some other things on your own. So what were all those things that you maybe had tried?
Right. So Instagram DMs was a big, or not Instagram, Twitter DMs was a big deal. And just getting followed by coaches. And I knew basically if I got followed by a coach, then that would be a camp that I would probably be interested in going to because they reached out to me first. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, if I remember, I think it was actually Dad that had reached out, or we were talking to Dad over there on Instagram. So, Drew, from your point of view, like, I guess, what did you maybe see over there on Instagram that kind of you saw or that made you interested in this whole thing?
Yeah, I saw several guys doing what you do, and for whatever reason, your style of the videos grabbed my attention, and I watched several of them. So
Yeah.
then the algorithm really grabbed a hold, and I probably got on and saw you every day for 5 or 10 days in a row, and
Wow.
that coincided with us being at a point where we thought we had kind of done everything we knew to do.
Yeah.
Going back to the camp stuff, as we were heading into camps, we didn't do anything ahead of time besides sign up and get a hotel room and stuff.
Yeah,
We weren't
definitely.
proactively talking to the coaches. As a matter of fact, when at one of the mega camps we went to, it was very specifically in our mind, we got pigeonholed when we could have sent film or something and been in a better group. We got put in a low group. I mean, I didn't do anything, but Matt got put in a low group. So those kind of things started piquing my interest of like, we're doing a lot of stuff right, but there's something missing. And
Yeah.
so I don't remember the exact video. I don't remember exactly what you said. But it was, hey, a formula and a playbook on
It
you,
was the act like recruiting's getting a girlfriend thing.
Well, yeah, that too, but that was after I contacted him because then he sent the recruiting playbook basically. I can't remember what it's called,
Yeah.
but before that it was like we just knew we were missing something and we had been trying and trying and doing what we could.
Yep.
And I'm a high school football coach
Definitely.
at a successful high school, and we talk to coaches as they come in. So I had known one side of the recruiting, but as a parent, that didn't help me at all, which is
Yeah,
crazy, but it didn't.
for sure. No, that's a awesome story. And like you said too, there's a lot of other people that are out there, a lot of different services and things like that. I guess now knowing like obviously going through the program, what were maybe some like doubts or some fears you guys had before actually going and like getting started with us?
Yeah, a doubt I had was, well, I'm a long snapper. Um, it's a niche position and something that there's not a lot out there on the exact way to get recruited as a specialist, really. And that was definitely a worry for me because it's rare and it's been different every year in the past few years. And with all the NCAA new roster cap stuff, I was kind of just worried about, finding a spot and if it was going to be right for me. And but yeah, worked out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the fear around what you do, if it works, does it work for the specialist? Would they respond the same way to similar techniques? And we worried that even after reading the manual, which makes complete sense on, the idea of attraction and intrigue and how do you build relationships back and forth. Made a lot of sense, but we just kept thinking, well, would it work for a specialist?
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes a lot of sense. For you guys, I guess having that doubt or having that fear if it would work for you, what made you guys say yes anyway and actually jump in?
Um, I think part of it was if the money back guarantee if I don't go to the level that I want to play at, and it kind of gave us a little bit of a safety blanket. But also just your guys' knowledge and what you do, and that you've been through the process yourself as transferring out from D3 to D1, and so that gave me like the right idea, and like I knew you knew what you were talking about, if that makes sense.
Well, that was a big part of it for me was the recency of where you were at the time, which won't always be the case for you guys, but for me, it was that piece was like, dude, you just did it. And, the rules keep changing, but, so you were there. The other thing was for me, writing the check, it was, I didn't want to have any regret. Now that we knew that you existed and we knew that the process made all kinds of sense and talking to your colleague, um, we really just got to a point where I was like, I'm going to regret not doing it. And because there's no downside except for the money, and that makes the money's not free, all that stuff. But there's no downside. It couldn't have hurt us, and so we talked about it and just said, I mean, why wouldn't we? And then we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, cool. That's yeah, that's an awesome story. I appreciate you guys obviously jumping in and like you, Matty, coming in and like putting in the work too. Because that what is what makes the whole thing work, right? Like obviously all the information is out there and I have a whole bunch of information to be able to give to you guys, but like you actually have to go implement it and do the things we say and obviously all the different strategies and things that we kind of lay out for you. So I appreciate you, man, like actually like taking the full effort and taking the thing by the reins and like going and doing it. And I think obviously that's why you've become an awesome player, right? But an awesome person too, and did get a whole bunch of great results, right? I think that's what's going to carry you through your college career too, and even beyond that, as far as whatever you plan to do, bro. You're obviously an awesome player, an awesome person, great family, and I appreciate the work that you guys have put in.
Thank
So that being said, like actually joining the program, what were kind of some of those things that we did like day one up until signing day that you felt like were most beneficial or maybe it didn't work too?
Yeah, I think obvious one was just whenever a coach texted me and I kind of didn't know what to say, I would be able to reach out to you and you'd get back to me in a really short amount of time and basically guide me through the whole conversation that I was having with said coach. And that was really helpful because before that we thought we were sending the right thing, but we didn't know for sure. And then now with your input, it was super easy and it took like a weight off my chest to know, all right, like I think I know I'm sending the right thing and I don't have to worry about messing up my words.
It removed stress between us too. So, you get a text from whatever school, and we're both looking at each other. Like, what's the perfect response? What could it possibly be? And then, in all situations, it's son and parent where the parent says, "Let's do this," and they're like, "Well, that's stupid. You're an old guy." Like it just turns into there's a stressful part that we just gave to you.
Yeah.
And, Matt would say, "Hey, I was texting me, blah, blah, blah." Like, I don't know, ask Will. And it was always a reasonable amount of time where, we could get an answer. And every time you sent something, we're like, that makes sense. Why didn't we think of that? But we never thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, dude. No, that's awesome. For you, Matty, was there something that stood out to you, or did you see a change in, I guess, the way? Because you obviously had some interest, right? Like you didn't come to us from just like the first step of it all. Like you had some interest. Did
Right.
you see a change in, I guess, the conversations you were having with coaches, or something shifted after we kind of partnered up?
Yeah, I think a surprising one for me was the conversations became a little more casual. Before I I started talking to you, I kind of felt forced and like it was like business and like there wasn't any fun involved. But I think the more I started talking to you, the more I realized it's not that and it's more casual. And it did end up becoming more casual. And we like just having more normal conversations with coaches, not only about recruiting, but getting to know the coach more. And so making myself more memorable to them was a huge change.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a big change that I've noticed even when I was in high school and then in college, right? Um, and then with all of our like other guys too. So I appreciate you taking note of that and being able to implement that and use it to your advantage too. Going back, I guess a little bit, like we were just saying, you already had some interest, right? What was it like kind of getting more eyeballs on you other than just kind of converting some of the interest we already had?
Right. I think with between Twitter, emails, and um, just other stuff, camps and whatnot, I think you can really tell that other schools feed off of like other schools making decisions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think the change in the way I did my Twitter posts made me one, there were more eyeballs on me, but two, it made other schools be like, okay, this coach is talking to Matty, so and we like this coach, so now we're gonna start doing it. And I think that was a pretty big game changer. And like I would get random texts from schools that I had never talked to before, and it was really surprising to me how much like just a switch of wording or the way you post can really affect the way coaches see you and reach out to you. And not only that, but the emails. Like I got lots of contact from schools that I had never talked to before, and they're like, "We got your email," and that's where the Air Force offer came from. So
Let's freaking go.
yeah,
Cool. So, yeah, to just tell the viewers and everything, like, where are you at now with everything? I guess what are some of those results, or where are you at now with everything after going through the process?
yeah. So I recently signed with University of Iowa about a month ago, and that was the school that when I went there, I was like, "Damn, like I really want to be here. Like this is my place." And I at first I kind of didn't believe in myself and I didn't think that I could achieve it just because I'm just hard on myself like that. But um, no, and the last week was the most stressful. I thought I was probably going to go to Michigan State, and then they were like, "Sorry, buddy, we can't have you." And then I was going to go to official visits to Air Force, and that was kind of my backup. And then right before I was going to go to Air Force, the new Iowa special teams coordinator called me and offered me on the phone, and I canceled Air Force and went up to Iowa and committed there, and it was a really big dream come true. So yeah.
There's a
Dude,
couple
like,
other parts that he left out. So
yeah, go ahead.
in the mix of Air Force surfacing an offer and then posting that, it took the recruiting into high gear. So Matty already had offers to some other smaller schools, smaller division, which we were excited about at the time. And then once Air Force really put their hat in the ring, and we were taking it completely serious and we're going to head that direction, um, it really made the other coaches take notice and maybe become jealous, which is what happens in these processes. And
Yeah.
so as the Iowa and Air Force thing was unfolding, and then Michigan State, we also got contacted by Michigan. We also got contacted by Louisville. We got other like sized similar P4 interest because of that first one. And then when he got the offer from Iowa, it was like a feeding frenzy in the last couple of weeks. And I fully believe that we wouldn't have had as much of a jealousy match if they didn't all know about him. And so he hadn't snapped in front of all those schools that came out of the woodwork. Half of them, maybe more than half, but the others, they uh, I don't know how else they found him besides from the campaigns that we were having with email, with Twitter. Um, but I think without that, we might have had a lot less interest, which drove all kinds of activity.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I totally agree with that. Like, an example is, so on the way back from Iowa, the Louisville coach called me and offered me like that, and I was like, sorry, I just committed to Iowa. It wasn't a big deal, but it goes to show, like, once one person makes a decision, it's like the green light, it's go time. Like, more schools are going to come at you. And I didn't really know that until we talked. It does make total sense, but I didn't know how true it was just because I hadn't experienced it yet.
Yeah. 1,000,000%, dude. How does it, dude, like, how did taking the visit, how did committing, how was signing day, how did all that feel, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was the end goal, and um, like I said, at times I didn't believe in myself, but going up to Iowa, talking to the coaches, talking to the players, it all felt real in that moment, and just the fact that after like some really pretty bad hardships, am going to basically my dream school. It's awesome, and signing was even better. Like writing it down, putting it in paper, um, putting it in writing. I mean, yeah, it's just there's no other word to describe it besides amazing.
Dude, Maddie, I'm so proud of you, bro. You, like I said before, dude, you put in an extremely large amount of work to be able to get to that point, and just a very special feeling to have a small part in your journey, man. Because like, obviously, we were only here for what, 5 or 6 months, and there was obviously years and years of work that had been done prior to that too, to where the point where we could come in and obviously come in and help you out. So, dude, I just want you to know, like, I'm super proud of you, bro, and you should be super proud of yourself too, and obviously mom, dad, and the whole family, and probably your whole school and city, bro, are all super proud of you, man.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, dude, you're welcome. Drew, for you, like any words on how it was kind of going up to Iowa and obviously signing day and everything from your point of view?
Yeah, I think all of it has been so awesome. One other part of this story is his older brother also got recruited to play in college and signed with the D1 program. And that was long enough ago where, again, I was in the dark on the recruiting stuff. So by the time we got to this, it felt like, a brand new process had just, finished for Matty, and we were all super excited. Uh, the signing day I was at, the visit for committing, I didn't get to go. I was traveling with my daughter for her soon to be college sport, hopefully. But yeah, my wife got to go to that. Super bummed. Actually, I'm going up to see the coaches in a few weeks um, to actually shake their hands and sort of finish it for me. But
Wow.
super exciting, and the signing day was special as it should be. all the schools should do that, and have all the guys there, and the media coverage and stuff. It was just a lot of fun.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I just can't I just can't stop smiling, bro. 'Cause it's so awesome. Um, what type of player, Maddie, what type of person, what type of recruit do you think that this program is right for? And I guess what type of player do you think this is not the right fit for?
Yeah, I think it's the right fit for someone who's hungry and who really wants it. Because like kind of like you said, it doesn't work if both parties put in the effort. And I think for me, I was really hungry to get this over with because it's such a delayed process for me. And I had seen all my friends and my highly talented friends go D1, and I was like, that's gonna be me, but like it's been taking a while. So I was really hungry, and I think that's a huge criteria for someone that would use athletes university. Somewhat, I guess kind of the opposite would be um, someone that you wouldn't want, someone who doesn't really have like doesn't know if they want it that bad. It's got to be someone who's hungry, who's willing to put in the work, who's willing to do extra, not just sit there and watch you send emails, but do
Yeah,
what you say and stuff like that.
terrific, dude. Terrific. What would you say to someone who's watching this right now and they're kind of on the fence about, I guess, if it works or if it's right for them?
Yeah, I will say we had similar doubts, and like he said, there is no downside to athletes university. That like there's nothing that could go wrong from joining besides a financial commitment. Um, there is no downside, and also the money back guarantee. If you don't go to the pro or the level that you want is also like I said, a good safety blanket, and it just works. Like it takes time, and it's not going to be immediately, but you'll see the fruit come in, and like I said, it takes time. You got to do what's told of you, and you got to be hungry.
Baller, baller for sure. Any other thing from your point of view, Drew? Obviously, Maddie's kind of speaking to the kids there. Anything from like the parents' point of view that you feel like might be useful to parent watching this?
Yeah, maybe I'll just reiterate some of the stuff I already said, but there's no downside. You won't have regret by doing this.
Mhm.
Um, unless you've done this recently with multiple other kids, you don't know what you're doing as a parent. No matter how locked in you think you are, no matter how much time you think you can put into trying to help the situation, there's just a good way to do it, and that's what you guys provide, a playbook. Now, are there other ways? Probably. Like, there's always going to be other ways.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the only way to do it, but it's a way. And if you don't know a way, why wouldn't you invest in a way that's been proven? Um, that, and then I'll answer the question you asked him as well. Is like, who's this perfect for?
yeah,
Um, if you're a 5-star with 50 offers already, probably not. But I don't know, maybe you want 100 offers. Like that could be cool. But I think it's for those guys that are, forget the star ratings. It's guys that have tape. This wouldn't work if Matthew didn't have film.
exactly.
It's guys that like to work on their craft and get somewhere because of their hard work. And then for families and parents, I'm not a college coach and I'm not even that special at all, but I know the sport really well. I coach it at a really high level in the town that we're in. And I was still lost. So, um, and then when we got your information and saw it work, I was more lost than I thought I was. So I don't think that there are very many parents that can go alone unless your kid's a 5-star, right? And then it's also not for those kids that just, you're not going to take a kid that has no film, no reps, no experience, no size, no speed, no strength, and get them a scholarship, right? So it's
Exactly.
it's those guys that are already players, maybe they're ballers, but it's an exposure game. And then there's right ways to engage and build relationships.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. And yeah, I always say it too, like, nobody goes D1 just by being like a good emailer, right? So I'm
Right.
glad that you guys know that and obviously have put in the work to be able to be in a spot like that too. So yeah, totally awesome. Any last words or anything else you guys want to leave the viewers with here?
Yeah, well, we just want to thank you for everything you've done for us, and you've been thanking us a lot, but you did a lot too, and I don't think it was a small part of the recruiting process. I think it was the biggest part. Although it was like the shortest part of the recruiting process, it was the most important time. So, yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, I'd say the
Mhm.
same thing. Thank you to Athletes University, and you will. Can I say your colleague's name? Are we cool with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, sure, Claude.
Claude was super helpful. I mean, honestly, in this process, I mean, I met you, and then you start going into the commitment phase, and Claude comes in, and he was super helpful with answering my dumb questions, and so yeah, thank you guys, and we certainly wouldn't be where we are if you guys didn't step in and be part of our team.
Oh yeah. Dude, I love that. And yeah, like I said, dude, thank you for obviously putting in the work too, Maddie, and like you guys taking the leap of faith um with everything. And dude, super hyped to see your journey throughout these next, 4 to 5 years and obviously beyond too, because you have a super bright future, man. And like I said, it's been a pleasure to be a small part of it. And we'll for sure see you guys up there. Was it April 18th up in Iowa City?
25th.
Okay, okay,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, so April 25th. We'll
Yep.
see you up there for that, man, for sure. And we'll definitely be making it up to a couple games here over these next 4 years. All right, bro?
Sweet.
Cool, guys. Well, yeah, dude, like I said, appreciate you guys' time. Maddie, super hyped to see you, bro. And I'll go ahead and end the recording here.